This is my week 14 video presentation for film and literature. So in the movie Like Father, Like Son, we see a very typical family dynamic where you have both the mother and the father and then a single child. And you can see that they want their child to do very well. At the very beginning, they take him to a private school where he's being kind of evaluated to be able to get into this school. And after that, we see how this child, he practices piano every day. And one day where they were going to skip it, the father said that he needed to practice every single day because he didn't want him getting behind. So we kind of see from the very beginning that there is somewhat this minor strictness put in place for this child so that way he will do very well, he will grow, and he will be very strong in the future with the knowledge that he would have. And we see, like, moments later, this woman fesses up to whenever she worked in the hospital where this child was born, that she had switched two babies. So the baby that they had raised for 6 years was not actually their blood child, it was someone else's. So they get with lawyers and they figure out a plan to where their blood child comes and stays with them for a weekend, while the child that they have raised for 6 years goes and stays with another family. And after that, we see the father get with his father and his brother, and he's telling him about the situation. And his father doesn't know why they are dealing with the lawyers and all this jazz, like trying to get the children, like, kind of acclimated to the new area and exactly what's going on. And we see the mention of just switch the kids back, just have your blood child because it's blood, that's your family line. And he brings up the moment where he's like, you've always thought that your kid, there was something not right, as in the fact that it took him a little bit longer to grow and to understand things. Like, it took him longer to get proficient to where he is on the piano. And just because talking about like the bloodline dynamic versus how someone is raised versus their genetics, someone's genetics doesn't say how they're going to do in the future. Like, you can have two doctor parents and their child, that doesn't mean their child's going to be a doctor. Blood doesn't matter. It matters in the sense of how you were raised. So, like, just like with like race horses and bloodlines, just because a horse is parented by two very, very well-known racehorses, two racehorses that did absolutely amazing on the track, that doesn't mean that that horse is going to be one. When that horse is trained, it could go a completely different route. It could turn into a jumping horse. It could turn into a barrel horse. And so the idea throughout this movie about the fact that the bloodline is what matters is just not right, because we see by the very end of the movie, after this father's having trouble getting connected with his blood child, that he slowly starts to understand that that's not his kid. He didn't raise him. He doesn't have a connection with him. So towards the very end of the movie, we see how he kind of starts getting regretful and he wants the child that he raised back. So that's what we see at the very end. And he has to apologize to the child that he did raise because he realized how he was being towards him, how the moment he found out that it wasn't actually his blood kid, that he slowly started resenting him and he wanted his blood child back. So that's a very strong dynamic that we see throughout this movie, and I think it provides a very good message.